Yeah.
Yeah. I say it all the time. But they hardcore to it all. If they don't bring heathen in, nah, it don't make no sense.
Or they're gonna want heathen to have to come up under the law. They understood that that first covenant was only for Israel.
Yeah.
Why would they be so pissed off about actual heathen keeping it on? It's Israelites.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yep. That word Greeks is heathen. So it's those who fall after the customs, originally after the customs of the Greeks, the language, the ways of life that were that were converted to believing in Yahushua.
Can I back you up with a quick precept just for the listeners? John 7:35 in the NLT is the New Testament, and the Jewish, more air quotes, leaders were puzzled by this statement. Where was he planning to go? Talking about Yahushua. They asked, is he thinking of leaving the country and going to the Jews in other lands because we were scattered? Okay, great. That's it.
Bring it out.
It says, and hath polluted the holy place. Verse 29. For he hath seen before him, for they had seen before with him in the city Trophimus, an Ephesian, whom they supposed that Paul had brought into the temple. So they saw Paul with a Jake, It was like, this nigga, he brought this nigga into the temple. This nigga lost his mind. Yeah.
Super Greek.
Trophy. He hella Greek out. It's trophy. What that mean? Yeah. Trophy. It gotta mean like a triumph or something. Trophy. Nutritious.
Wow.
Trophimos. Nutritious.
That's even food.
Nutritious.
Interesting. So it says, and all the city was moved, and the people ran together, and they took Paul and drew him out of the temple, and forthwith the doors were shut. And as they went about to kill him, tidings came unto the chief captain of the band that all Jerusalem was up in an uproar, who immediately took soldiers and centurions and ran down unto them. And when they saw the chief captain and the soldiers, they left beating Paul. Beating him up, man.
Mm-hmm.
Then the chief captain came near and took him and commanded him to be bound with 2 chains, and demanded who he was and what he had done. And some cried one thing and some another among the multitude.
Same shit.
He said he did this, and when he could not know the certainty of the tumult, he commanded him to be carried into the castle. He was like, what the fuck is going on? Take him over here, man. Just screaming, accusing him. He's like, what the hell is going on? And when he came up on the stairs, so it was that he was born of the soldiers for the violence of the people. They had to protect him.
Yeah. They got to carry him up the stairs. He couldn't even walk.
Right. We're reading it in NLT. It says, and the crowd followed behind him, shouting, kill him, kill him.
Shit.
His ass.
Goodness gracious.
Is this where they made him offer a sacrifice?
I know that's when he went to Jerusalem and he got pretty much under custody.
I don't think so. In this account.
But I mean, the point was made.
Kind of.
Point was made.
He could have got killed just
He could have got
Yeah.
killed. He could have got killed.
Man, his walk was way more action-packed than the sitcom.
Yeah.
Man.
I can just see that in my
Yeah,
head.
like, it's like, damn, he
Yeah.
was doing something all the time.
I was saying, yeah, because what the book of Acts, that's like what, almost 30 years? That's almost like a 30-year span. You know what I'm saying?
12 seasons is just bullshit.
You know what I'm saying? You get a lot in that time. When you think about from the time Yahushua, left and the apostles took over. That was a nice little minute, you know what I'm saying, in history. You can't take that history away. That happened. So now it's happening again. When you think about it, I would say when you think about it from the time High Priest Bivens, from him to now, that's a nice little chunk of history right there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we came in at the time that we came in to fulfill our lots. But like the brother going into, we've been taught how to deal amongst each other before we was unleashed on the world. You know, so when the world see us, they can see how Yahushua told us how to act.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How he told us how to be.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? When you bring full circle going back from all the precepts that came out, getting back to the brother's point.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna start up real quick in the same chapter. I think it's the point we was talking about.
What verse?
Starting at verse 18, because that's when it mentions James.
Yeah.
And then, I'll read it for you. Acts 21:18, it says, "In the day following, Paul went in with us unto James, and all the elders were present. And when he had saluted them, he declared particularly what things the Most High had wrought, among the Gentiles by his ministry. And when they heard it, they glorified the Lord and said unto him, Thou seest, brother, how many thousands of Jews there are which believe, and they are all zealous of the law." And that proves that not every single Jew at this time was rejected the Lord, because he had thousands that believe. Mm-hmm. It says, "And they are informed of thee, that thou teachest all the Jews which are among the Gentiles to forsake Moses, saying that they ought not to circumcise their children, neither to walk after their customs. What is it therefore?" Pretty much like, what is it, right? "The multitude must needs come together, for they will hear that thou art come. Do therefore this that we say to thee. We have 4 men which have a vow on them. Take them and purify thyself with them." This is what James is saying. This is what you're saying.
Right. Because basically,
yeah,
there were I believe these men were coming out of the Nazarite vow, and I believe there was a sacrifice associated with that.
Mm-hmm.
So they was like, "Look, this is what we need you to do.
Yeah.
All right, we got 2 men that's gonna get purified later. You do the sacrifice.
Do it with them.
Do it with them.
Yeah.
With them, so they can see."
Yeah.
Man, that's heavy.
And what that did was open the door to where he could gain more.
Yeah.
To, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he was constantly put in those situations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, things would happen to him just so other people could see the power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And the message that he was teaching went right along with it. It's this little package deal, because like Elder Yahshua always said, it's gonna draw you in. You know what I'm saying? It ain't one of those things. It ain't one of those things to where everybody's gonna want to see it or everybody's gonna love it. It's just what you see is for you, for your particular. You know what I'm saying? Coming into this thing, everybody got their own story of what it was that sealed the deal for you. You know, and things will happen to Paul just so people can see.
Yeah.
Just like things will happen to us. You know what I'm saying? Being able to heal people through the Spirit and all these different actions and feats that happen in the scriptures, they all happened just so the Lord's power can be shown to convert somebody. You know, even with miracles. When you look up the word miracles, it goes into how the Lord uses a man to do certain things to show his power. You know, and it starts with conversation.
Yep. That's right. Verse 24, I'll read this real quick, and then we can go back. It says, "Take them and purify thyself with them, and be at charges with them." Meaning being at charges pretty much means to pay their, the Apostle Paul was to pay their expenses for the sacrifice, for the sacrifice. And be at charges with them, and they may shave their heads, and all may know that those things whereof they were informed concerning thee are nothing, but that thou thyself also walkest orderly and keepest the law. So that's what they was like, hey, look, just so that, like you said, just so they know, do the sacrifice with them, so that they know that you're not telling them to break the law. Because if he was telling them to break the law, he wouldn't have did it. You know what I'm saying? That was the whole argument, was the fact that you teaching them, they saying that you teaching them to not keep the law. So keep the law. Show it openly. We know you keep the law, but show it openly to them. You know what I'm saying? That's actually a beautiful example. I didn't think about this one earlier when I was writing those precepts.
Mm-hmm. But see, it was James and them.
Yeah,
It was
the
the-
circumcision.
They were
Yeah.
like, look, bro.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, because in Jerusalem, man, that wasn't. Jerusalem was the followers of Yahushua in Jerusalem. That was like the last place you wanted to be.
Yeah, they were hard.
You know, that was the last place you wanted to be. That's why when the Apostle Paul, when he told his the followers that he was going to Jerusalem, it was like, man, no, like you going to Jerusalem, bro? I don't think that's a good idea. You know, but he for something like this is what the Lord wants me to do. You know what I'm saying?
Kill you.
Say again?
I said they'll kill you.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was.
That's what happened. When we read down, shit, that was the first thing that happened. They took him to custody.
Yep. Let's go to let's get Galatians 2 real quick. You can just read verses 1 to 3 in Galatians 2. He said unto those without the law I became as one without the law. Right?
What verse?
You start at verse 1 and read out verse 2.
Galatians 2:1.
And this is also starting at Galatians 2, this is also the Jerusalem Council that you read in Acts 15. It's just another not necessarily version, but another perspective of it.
Right, just condensed. Yeah. Galatians 2 and from the top. Then 14 years after, I went up again to Jerusalem with Barnabas and took Titus with me also.
I was talking about Titus. You know, after 14 years after he received the revelation from Yahushua, it took him 14 years for him to actually go up back to Jerusalem. You know, go ahead.
Verse 2. And I went up by revelation and communicated unto them that gospel which I preach among the Gentiles, but privately to them which were of reputation, lest by any means I should run or had run in vain.
Right, so it said by revelation, he communicated pretty much to the heads, Peter, James, and John, you know, them in Jerusalem, the message that he received from Yahushua. They say he came privately to them which were of reputation, least by any means I should run or had run in vain, pretty much to make sure that everything was in alignment. You know, like, okay, the message that I'm preaching, this is what was revealed unto me.
Right.
I want to bring it by y'all to make sure that this is all in one accordance.
Right.
You know, as a matter of fact, you got it in the NLT right there.
I actually looking at it in NLT. I'm sorry.
They'll be like Elder Yashua, but if he found something new in the scriptures, a new breakdown or a twist or whatever, he would probably go to one call Apostle of Ramlab or one of the heads and discuss it with them. You know, should I bring this out before just getting on camera and making a video?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah, that's happened a bunch of times.
In the NLT, Galatians 2:2, it says, I went there because the Most High revealed to me that I should go. While I was there, I met privately with those considered to be the leaders of the church and shared with them the message I had been preaching to the Gentiles. I wanted to make sure that we were in agreement, for fear that all my efforts had been wasted and I was running the race for nothing.
Man, so he went up there after, even though it was revealed to him by Yahushua, he still went to the heads of the church to make sure that the message he was speaking was in agreement and that he just wasn't bullshit.
That's being in order too.
That's being in order.
Yo.
You know what I'm saying? But you got a lot of Jake that don't like to be in order.
And also to add to your point, they don't trust that the men that Yahushua set up, well, they don't trust that the Lord set up other men or something.
The Lord revealed it to me.
Yeah, like they're just the only guy that the Spirit is dealing with, and there's no structure on earth. So that shows that humility that Paul had.
Yeah, because I mean, think about it. It said 14 years he went back up to Jerusalem, right? And when you read Acts 9, that's when you read about the Apostle Paul's conversion. And then Acts 10, he goes into Cornelius, which was revealed unto Peter. Now, it doesn't tell you how long of time that was from that time, from, you know, Acts 9, chapter 9, chapter 10. But we know that the message was revealed unto Peter first. So it was all through the revelation at the same time. Like, it was all it all coincided regardless at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And it was revealed. Like Yahushua said, he said, Yahushua revealed unto me to go up there. You know what I'm saying? To make sure that what I've been preaching out here doing my thing, because he said he conferred not with flesh and blood. He was already preaching. You know what I'm saying? To make sure that, you know, everything was in alignment. You know, everything was in agreement, which goes back to the same doctrine being taught. Oh, you gotta teach this, you can teach that. We all come together. Apostle Paul didn't do that. He wanted to make sure everything was in alignment. You know, you can read verse 3.
Galatians 2 verse 3.
But neither Titus, who was with me, being a Greek, was compelled to be circumcised.
Boom. So now Titus, with him being a Greek, that's the same word Helen there, right? It says he wasn't compelled to be circumcised when he went up to Jerusalem with the Apostle Paul.
That's risky.
Yeah, but that goes into what the Jerusalem Council was like. Man, look, just tell them not to eat anything strangled. You know what I'm saying? To abstain from fornication. But
He probably reported that too. Like, hey, I'm gonna have to bring Titus. Da 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 da. You know.
And he wasn't. The heads of the church wasn't compelling him to get circumcised.
Right.
Because of.
And that action brought more into the ministry.
Yep.
So
That's a good point, man.
It's a case by case situation. You just gotta be in the spirit on each. Y'all said you gotta be in the spirit no matter who you're dealing with. Because at the end of the day, you realize that it's your Hashem Shai sheep that you're dealing with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So being able to have those conversations, whether they be gentle or forward, you're dealing with all of it. And sometimes you're gonna need to call somebody else and be like to seek counsel and all these different things. Some things you're gonna be able to handle on your own. Some things you're gonna have to make that call. But being able to judge those situations, all those are judgments. Each decision you make is a judgment. You know what I'm saying? And you want to hit more than you miss. You want to hit more than you miss when you walk into the spirit. So,
Yeah, man. Knowing the right judgment calls, man. In the spirit. That's it on Galatians 2. So we go back to 1 Corinthians 9 and read verse 22.
Okay.
Just got a few more.
Yeah. Back in 1 Corinthians 9 and verse 22, it says, "To the weak I became as weak, that I might gain the weak, and I am made all things to all men, that I might by all means save some."
Right. So he pretty much to the weak he became weak, to the strong he became strong. It says, "I am made all things to all men. I become all things to all men, so that I might by all means save some." You know what I'm saying? So he took himself out the equation, because remember, the Apostle Paul was a master in the law. Like, he knew, come on, he was a Pharisee of the Pharisees. You know what I'm saying? So if anything, he could have came with straight out the, you know what I'm saying, straight out the law, and it could have went completely over people's heads. You see? So he knew how to adapt to particular scenarios and situations, who he was talking to gain them to Yahweh Shai. Like we were saying earlier, letting our speech be seasoned with salt.
He's trying to find common ground.
So
He's trying to find common ground with him.
When you read it in the NLT, that's what he said.
Because you can't speak Greek when people, like we speak in Greek, but here we speak English. No, we got to come down to that level. You know what I mean?
Relatable.
Right. Yeah.
You got an NLT, Elder?
Yeah, it says 1 Corinthians 9 and 22. When I am with those who are weak, I share their weakness, for I want to bring the weak to Hamashiach. Yes, I try to find common ground with everyone, doing everything I can to save some.
Wow. Establishing common ground. And that takes time, that takes, experience, man. Like when you see the apostles and elders deal, man, you see that in live and direct and act like real time, man. You see that like with men of experience, how they talk, and how the apostles begin with apostles harm down, how they communicate. You're like, dang, you know what I'm saying? Like how they know how to maneuver through conversations with particular people. Yeah, it's a prime example.
Apostle Tahar, man. He's saying, oh my goodness.
Real.
Somebody could be walking by, he'll pick out anything to bring up the top. He'll be something on their shirt. And he'll say, so what you know about, did you know what this? And he'll just, you know what I mean? He goes into, and he makes it relatable to a place to where they can actually comprehend what the fullness of what we're trying to get across. And he'll slip it in and give them little samples of, hey, this is what this is about.
Establish that common ground.
Yeah, consider. Yeah.
You see somebody walking up with a basketball in their hand, or whatever the case may be. Like that one chick with the basketball fit on. Like Elder Ariala did a beautiful example of that. Like the 2 weekends ago, how he established common ground with that guy. You know what I'm saying? You play basketball, you can mention sports or whatever. Yeah. When you read down the Apostle Paul started mentioning the Olympics.
Boxing.
You're like run the race and boxing. Because you got to think the Isthmus games was going on back then. So yeah, a lot of Jakes. that in a Gentile state of mind, going to the Olympics. So he used the Olympics as a means of going down to their level to bring to mention the truth with it, like a race.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It was it's relatable. That's the spirit. How he mentioned that right afterwards. Like not all that running race in the crowd. You know what I'm saying? That was very big at that time with the Isthmus Games, like the Olympics at the time. You know. Romans 14:1. I actually read. This is Romans chapter 14, verse 1. It says, "Him that is weak in the faith receive ye, but not to doubtful disputations." So somebody that may not necessarily be as strong in the faith as you are, you know, but they believe, you have to go down to that level to receive them. But it says not to doubtful disputations, because that person may come with an opinion and it may not necessarily be correct, and you got to correct them with it. But there's a way about going about it. As a matter of fact, anybody can you put it up in the NLT?
Yeah. Which verse again?
14:1. Romans 14:1.
Yeah, this is in the NLT. It says, "Accept other believers who are weak in faith, and don't argue with them about what they think is right or wrong."
Right, and does that mean that they come up spewing some madness, you just agree? No, that doesn't mean that. You know what I'm saying? Of course, if they come up talking about some BS, but they're on a level that they don't know, there's a way that you can go about it to correct them, and there's a right way to go about correcting it. You know what I'm saying? In the sense not where it's not an argument back and forth.
Yeah.
It's unprofitable anyway. Arguing with somebody that you already recognize they don't know something.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be counterproductive, you know.
Yeah, like somebody coming up, like somebody coming up listening and inquiring, and you mentioned that hell ain't real, which we know that it's not. You know what I'm saying? But according to their life, they've already known and believe that hell is a place where you burn forever. They're like, what do you mean hell ain't real?
And they're trying to convince you.
And they try, well, what about this scripture?
Yeah.
And you bring the scripture out and you break it down, and then you give an example.
Yep.
You know, you really think
It's according to doctrine.
exactly.
That's
You
the
going
main-
out, you
That's the
don't
main
need
thing. You're correcting them according to the doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's where people get it twisted. They think that when we come with what scripture, that we coming off the dome, or we coming off. No. This is what the Bible is talking about.
Yeah.
You see, so when you correct somebody, you correct them according to that. You know, and you find ways to show them in the scriptures. You know.
Yep.
Well, we already know where to find it. It's just about whether or not the Spirit allows us to present it before they either take it or not.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, someone talk about that, you're like, man, no, ain't no, man, you dumbass nigga. You
Yeah.
dumbass nigga.
How you don't know
How
that?
you don't know that, man, you dumbass nigga.
Yeah, that'll leave him more confused.
Like, well, damn, you know what I'm saying? Like, but there ain't no edification coming from that at all. Now it's just turned into a shouting contest, and it's, you know, it's no edification in that. You know what I'm saying? How the hell you didn't know that, you dumbass?
You're a bug out, man.
You know what I'm saying? This is like, well, you don't know.
Yeah. If you don't know, you don't know.
You know what I'm saying? He doesn't know, but that doesn't mean that you know, there's a way to go about it. I'll just put it like that.
Right.
You got something, Monty? Go ahead.
This is Philippians 1, verse 10. We'll jump, start at verse 9. It says, "And this I pray, that your love may abound yet more and more in the knowledge and in all judgment, that ye may approve things that are excellent, that ye may be sincere without offense to the day of Mashiach." And like you said, we supposed to be excellent on approving and showing things, you know, that if we're talking to someone, like on how we the byway, we want to prove certain things, but we want to be sincere about it, you know, not giving too much offense. Because if you just offending someone as soon as they walk by, they don't want to hear you just gonna, you know, nigga, I don't, you know, this and that, and make them just turn away and walk away, you know. So you want to be sincere about it.
Yeah, like, you know, you got somebody walking up to the camp, and it's be like, let's say it's like a little girl or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Or it'd be a man, you know, like a little girl, maybe, you know, like a very young girl. Be over here, man, you know, man, these bitches out here, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, you know, you gotta pick and choose the words that you know, how you speak. Now, of course, granted, at times, with the moment and the spirit can happen, whereas it can be heated where particular words may come out, of course, for men. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a witness. I remember, you know, at times, you know, Elder Yashawamba, Elder Yatazak, I may be speaking, and somebody may be like a child or somebody come up, like, hey, brother,
Yeah.
hey, don't, you know what I'm saying? You don't gotta go, you know what I mean? That happened to me. I'm an example. You know what I'm saying? Shit, that happened to me. You know what I'm saying? So it's just knowing how to go down to that common ground. You know what I'm saying with somebody. 1 Corinthians 8:9. It says, "But take heed, lest by any means this liberty of yours become a stumbling block to them that are weak." So because we got liberty in Yahushua, you know what I'm saying? But with that, our liberty that we do have, you know, it can become a stumbling block to those that may not be as strong in the faith as you are, with particular things that you may do. Like, for example, when you read in this chapter, it's talking about eating food, sacrifice to idols, and things of that nature. And somebody that's weak in the faith see that, be like, what the hell? Like, huh? You know what I'm saying? So it's just knowing how to do things around particular individuals. You know what I'm saying? And that's really all that I had, honestly. Did anybody else have any other precepts or anything? Okay. So with that, you know, Lord's word, this lesson was edifying. We want to give all praise, honor, and glory to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, HaKadosh.
double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that's still teaching this truth. And always much peace, love, and salutation to the elect of the Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Shalom.
Shalom.